Okay, spawning in the bottom left is Urbane Olive, and in the top right, Szen. Now, this is a custom map. I do not remember all the names of the ancient maps. If anybody in the chat knows it, feel free to type it out so I look like I know what I'm talking about on the VOD. But yeah, these are called ancient maps because they're, well, ancient in the game. They were made a few years ago for some custom map tournaments that we did. A lot of them were by Premium Bow and Best Sakya. Urbane Olive, with his classic Mole Rush, one of the guys in the community that has really perfected it and still tries to keep it going. This map is Glacier, thank you. And one thing that's interesting about Glacier is that this ledge right here is very, very abusable. And Szen does have ferrets in the deck, so perhaps gonna look to maybe try to take advantage of that. I mean, there is a way down right here, but there isn't from the main base. You gotta walk all the way around, so defending a push of that area can be difficult. But speaking of pushes, Szen thinking about moving out with some squirrels there, but decides to bring it back for now. Keep macroing up, 8 farm double from both sides, or no, Szen? Okay, yeah, goes for it there. It's also a tough one on what you want your second base to be. Olive is going to opt for this one, which does look pretty intuitive, but it's not too hard for the attacker to kind of walk up on the ledge and try to fight from the ledge. Now, you don't get a direct advantage from having the high ground in Tooth and Tail, but the advantage comes from just not having vision, right? So if your opponent can't get vision on your units, you know, they obviously can't shoot back. And Szen's going for a big sell here in response to seeing the mill. This is an important scout for Olive. Looks like he will get in there and see the double tier 2. So Szen looking to turn on the aggression here and shut down Olive before that second base engine can really get online. Olive is respecting this, though. Hasn't actually committed any farms to the second mill yet. Gonna go ahead and just kind of hide behind it. Wait for this attack from Szen before buying any farms. I think that's smart. I've also seen people take like 1 farm when you figure you're gonna get attacked, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, throw all the money that you can into the army, weather the storm, and then from there maybe, you know, sell off a couple units for a farm or 2. So Olive's got a pretty good force here. I mean, Squirrel Mole is very powerful for the front line. Got some Falcons to back it up. It's really going to come down to Szen's ferret control here. And when Szen decides to move out, which looks like it's going to be now, so actually being a little careful about mines, maybe? Did kind of stop for a reveal. But yeah, this is so gonna go ahead and take that mill. That way, after the fight, they can come back. And this is what I was talking about. I mean, Olive needs to meet the fight up here on the high ground, which means that he's not going to be able to tank with the mill at all. Because if he stays down here, it's going to be very difficult for his units to gain sight. He does have the flying unit, though, which helps out quite a bit with this. This is a tough decision for Olive. I feel like he's got the better in-your-face army, but this is also one of those points where, you know, the engagements can turn really fast and just decide the whole game, but Szen is going to go ahead and just back out. So far, a pretty even game. Olive wants to... Ooh, this is a little bit scary here with the ferrets. The ferrets, maybe... Oh, the one goes down. Okay, nice value. Yeah, this is looking real good for Olive. He was able to throw down a couple farms, get that tier 2. Szen isn't super far behind or anything, but definitely a couple points in the favor of Olive here. Szen needs to figure out how to get back into this, maybe trying to be greedy with the farm count. Olive did just scout. That's probably how I would try to come back here. Yeah, just farm up and hope that difference will be negligible. You know, the longer the game goes on, the fact that that ferret died is going to mean less and less. Szen thinking about pushing up here. Oh, Olive's army is looking real scary, though. Szen's going to go for it. And actually takes a decent fight up front. A big part of the reason for that was that Szen already had his units in place, and squirrels don't actually start firing until they find a tile to stand on. That one Falcon living was really good for Olive. Olive pulls back, but Szen's overstaying his welcome a little bit. Gonna lose another ferret on the retreat. Maybe the road helping it go faster than the Falcon. Oh my god, it gets away. And although I think that Olive kind of had the better comp going into that, like Squirrel Mole, Szen was able to do just fine in that fight because he kind of had the positional advantage there. So Szen going to keep trying to harass, but going to come back. Curious when the tier 3 is going to hit the board. It's a little bit too dicey right now. Another big engagement coming in. These moles doing a lot of work tanking on the front lines. What, the Falcon's starting to fall for Szen. This is not looking good for Szen. Olive doing a great defense here. Keeps his own 2 Falcons alive. That's very important, but Szen does keep the ferrets alive. However, that fight did go a little bit better for Olive. A little bit of an eco advantage, I guess, for Szen. Well, it probably about evens out here, looking at the graph. But the 5-minute mark has come and gone. So those main bases are following out. These second bases are really what is determining your entire economy at this point. And I like that Olive just went ahead and committed to these farms here. Szen getting a nice deep scout, looking for anything crazy like a tier 3. But this game has been a little bit too scrappy to just hide a tier 3. Like, you'd really be hurting on the front line there if you tried something like that. So I'm getting worried for Szen just because these 2 farms right here were very delayed. And on top of that, Szen hasn't had, like, the best engagements. They haven't been horrible either. But he just needs more value out of these ferrets. I mean, ooh, that's good value. Taking out a pig there. And getting a mole. And another pig! Okay, that was really good. That was really good. If you can get these ferrets out of here, that's exactly what Szen needed to get back into this. Oh, and this is a horrible attack for Urbane Olive. The terrain is just really on Szen's favor. Olive realizes this, backs out. The 4 Falcons is a good call. Like, Olive's got the better army for sure. But if Szen can kind of keep sneaking value with some ferrets here and there. Another big engagement. Olive is considering going all in on this. Again, all those moles on the front tanking for these Falcons in the back. And Olive gonna make quick work of this army. Szen does it. Actually, Szen trades pretty effectively. Keeps the ferrets alive. It's been really fascinating because in all these engagements, I feel like Olive has had the better army composition, but Szen has had the better positioning. Because that matters a lot, man. Like, the fact that Szen's units are firing immediately and while Olive's units are trying to get in position, I mean, that adds a lot of extra hits. Ooh, keeping these ferrets alive is very important. Szen might do this! He's done enough economic damage here. The re-rally is strong. Some Falcons coming out to try to defend Olive's position, but will it be enough? One of them goes down. And the shelling from the ferrets is just being utterly oppressive here. Going after the mill. Once that mill falls, that is basically game. As Olive is now starving. And look at this, Szen takes a really well-played game number 1. Really great unit positioning there. Let's hop into game number 2. Is this Gimbu Ravine? I feel like I remember the name of this one. On the left-hand side, it's Zensej. Over on the right, Urbane Olive. I actually like this map a lot. It's one of my favorite custom maps. I like a lot of the design philosophy. So, you know, double high ground for the main with 2 entrances, which allows for some backstabs, that type of stuff. Gimbu Ravine, yeah, I got it right. See, I know a few things. Natural on the regular high ground. Again, 2 entrances here. The 3rd on the low ground. A little bit harder to defend and a lot more open. And then a 4th base for either player on the north and south. I love this map. I think it's a very great Tooth and Tail map. Maybe it's a bit small, if anything. But it's not incredibly small, I guess. But the problem is, like, once you start expanding, like, this 3rd base and this natural are pretty close. But then again, I guess all the doodads and hills and water in the middle kind of slow things down. Yeah, this map seems very like you can kind of do whatever strategy you want. This sort of situation. 8 farm double out of 8 farm triple actually from Szen. Meanwhile, Olive is opening with a single into a mill. And get a match suit. Szen! Sign my mouse pad. Here we go. Tier 3 Wolf on the way. Olive should get that scout here. Sees it immediately. What's Olive's response? Now, it's dangerous to try to do this against... Oh, look at this. This is the big brain play. This is what the gentleman used to do to me all the time when I would rush a fox. Because a mistake can sometimes be, you know, trying to kill your opponent before the tier 3 gets out. Because with the defender's advantage, a lot of times you can hold, especially if you have turrets or something. I was wondering if Olive was going to go that route because he's got moles. But... you know, the high-level players kind of figured out years ago that this is the better approach. So when you see your opponent rushing a tier 3, just ecoing up like crazy. Szen trying to punish that a little bit with the squirrels he's kind of got lying around, but looks like Olive is going to handle it. And Olive also knows that it's a wolf, so probably skunks make sense here. Look at Zen's deck, by the way. Wolf, Fox, Owl, and a couple defenses. Going to get that extra Fox roll here. And keeping everyone guessing which team Szen is part of, either the Owl or the Wolf team. Or maybe the Boar team is just trying to throw us off, who knows. So let's see how Olive responds. He knows that the tier 3 is almost out. This is going to be a big Wolf Squirrel push. And that Wolf is eventually pretty much going to make these like stemmed Marines in StarCraft. So they're going to get a movement speed buff and attack speed buff. I like that cheeky mine, by the way. And Olive didn't even see it. That's so good. So Olive's response is going to be trying to defend this with Skunk Falcon and a handful of tier 1 and a much better economy. So Szen really needs to get something done here. At the same time, though, since it is the wolf, I wonder if he just hangs back, lets the wolf buff the pigs, which it isn't. I think you at least have to try to push. Which I'm surprised Szen isn't moving out right now. But I guess there is the argument of you could always just let the wolf buff your farms, which Szen's also not doing right now, so a little bit of sloppiness here from Szen. I feel like he's being a bit indecisive. Yeah, at least bring that wolf over here, brother. Let it buff your production a little bit. Meanwhile, over in Olive's base, Olive is just ready. It's probably a good idea that Szen didn't move out. But as I say that, here he goes. Oh, he's leaving the wolf at home. He's gonna bring up just the squirrels that are buffed up. And look at this. Absolutely wreak havoc to the base and then run out. Okay, Szen. Okay, Szen, that was pretty good. Oh, that was so smart. I just wish this wolf was positioned a little bit better in the main to buff those farms. And some turrets coming down. That was such a good play. And okay, so Olive is going for triple Badger. So we're being a little bit silly here. And meanwhile, the Fox is almost out from Olive. Also going for an Owl as well. Or Fox almost out for Szen. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Olive did scout the tier 3 here. Coming, and Szen definitely knows now if he didn't already. I like the moles just sitting here. Man, that was so smart to just bring the squirrels out with the wolf buff, because the wolf buff got reworked a few patches ago to where basically the lower tier unit, the longer the buff lasts. So the buff lasted for long enough for those squirrels to go all the way over there, kill some stuff, and get out. This Fox is going to be a real big problem for Olive, at least until the Badger comes out. I don't know if he necessarily should have moved everything up. I probably... Oh, no, he didn't! Oh, my God. Ugh. Szen says, give me an ulcer. That Fox barely lived to those Falcons. Now, the thing is, the Badger, with all the defense, like, in a 1v1, the Fox will beat the Badger. you know, 6 ways to Sunday, but in a fight like this, you can't really target the Badger down with the Fox, because the way that you have to micro the Fox here, you kind of have to pull it back, and unfortunately Szen just kind of misplayed there trying to get some value off the Fox. You know, those wolves, or those falcons rather, able to shoot down very quickly. This is looking real bad. Hopefully this mine pit works for Szen. A couple of the mines already going off though, so that's going to make Urbane a little bit careful. And Szen's just going for the base raid. He will get the expansion, but can he finish off Urbane in time? He's running up with all these woof puff squirrels. Ah! I don't think so. Oh my god. Well, Olive is starving. Is Szen gonna tap? I don't think you tap. I think you try to play it out. Sell some stuff off. He doesn't have moles, unfortunately. Man, that almost worked. I think if Szen would have microed his squirrels to the other side up here, to be a little bit further away, he might have got him. I mean, obviously there's no way Szen can compete with Olive's army here. Just a much better army. And Olive trying to micro some of his units. This is really smart. Send the moles back to defend one. Send the skunks back to defend the other. But will it be enough? Oh, this mill... Is this mill going to get up in time? It barely does! We don't need too much more damage here. Can Szen get there? Oh, man. Oh, it's so close. Alright, he taps out now. What a fun game. Olive managing to take it. To tie up the series 1-1 here. As we hop into game number 3. Over on the left-hand side, Urbane Olive and Szen on the right. And I believe this is Highway 404, if memory serves. So Szen, this time Owl Fox. Meanwhile, Olive with the Boar. Swizzard coming out from Szen here. Olive with a Mole Rush. Good map to do it, but Szen is going for a 4-farm double, which makes Olive quickly retreat. Olive did see that, though, which knowing is half the battle. And I don't think Szen knows. Did Szen see his commander? Yeah, Olive's got the perfect response here. A 5-farm double with squirrels. This will definitely hold. This is an isolated pig, though, and maybe these 2 lizards can take it out, but nah, the squirrels here... I think you gotta wait for 4 lizards, maybe. But this is just kind of risky. I think it's better for Szen to just keep the lizards alive, go home, get the farms. Like, Olive is very vigilant right now. He's very aware of what's going on. Gonna hop in here, but it's not gonna work. So far, this is looking really good for Olive. Szen was trying to, you know, pull a cheesy opener out with a 4-farm double. It's about as aggressive as you can get. Olive, though, saw it immediately since Olive was trying to Mole Rush. And that's really the problem here for Szen. Szen's gonna really hard commit and get a pig, but the amount of value that's been lost is just really high for Szen at this point. He needs to go home, farm up, and be careful. Now, the thing about Olive is he's one of these guys that has the killer instinct, as I call it, you know, which is pretty common in some of the higher level pro players, or best players of Tooth and Tail, rather, which is where they just kind of know, like, oh, I'm so far ahead of you at this point, I can, you know, build some moles push in the game, something like that. So I think that's probably what's going through Olive's head right now, is... has he kind of gotten to that point where it's like, oh yeah, we just kill him now. Like, he's too far behind. And that's honestly one of the most important skills to have in Tooth and Tail. Because there's several times where, you know, if you don't strike in on your enemy right at that moment, oh, that Mole Warren. Yeah, you can see Olive has determined he's far enough ahead to just end the game. And if Olive didn't do this and sat back, and, you know, this could become a game where Szen comes back. Squizzard is generally weak against Squall as well. I'm surprised Olive's not waiting for one more round of moles. 4 is probably the right number. But yeah, this is, in my opinion, this is what makes Tooth and Tail player great. Is just understanding this concept here. And Szen's gonna try his best to defend. Trying to run the lizards around the moles. Nice attempt there, but the advantage for Olive is just too great at this point. He had the better opener economically. Szen kind of had an opener that required to get damage done. Couldn't find the damage. And then overcommitted to it anyways. And GG, that's just kind of like a classic Tooth and Tail play. Or Tooth and Tail story, I suppose. Great decision making there from Olive, who will win the match 2-1.